Hi everyone and welcome to episode 7 of Relegation Rescue at Eibar with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So we're kind of needing to have to change the name of this series, I think, really. It's no longer a Relegation Rescue, more of a how high up the league can we finish? We're doing fantastically well. If we win our match today against Vigo in La Liga, who are currently sitting in 17th position, we could be as high as 10th after the game, which would be utterly amazing and ridiculous in every way considering where we found them. But we've still got to win, we've still got to do our job, so let's see how we get on. Welcome back to Eibar in Spain's La Liga. We are doing pretty well. I mean, the last game that we played on the episode was a completely and utterly mental win against Barcelona, for goodness sake. If you weren't here for the last episode, it was a bit of an amazing, epic match, really, that we found a way to win somehow. I'm still kind of shocked by it. The follow-up match, though, was a little bit down to earth with a bump. I still think we did quite well, but we got a draw against Getafe. They're sitting currently in 11th position. If we go to the league table, you'll see that we are currently down in 15th position, but that's only because most of the teams around us have played that extra game than we have, and this is our chance to play that game, the 30th match, and see if potentially we could go as high as 10th position. 11th, 10th, somewhere around there is where we will be if we win today's match. And that is pretty mental, really, considering, I don't know, what was it, 10 games ago, we found ourselves right on the bottom of the table and took over the club and tried to move them forward. And this is what we've managed so far. It's been pretty spectacular. The streak that we're on is very, very good. We've won a bunch of games. And the confidence is high. Today, the opponent's sitting in 17th. They're a good opponent for us to play. Just after the point, a game where we lost a couple of points, time to get back on the horse and see if we can win another one. So Vigo, I think, is a very, very good team for us to play. And for today's match, we are away from home, but I'm quietly confident. I think we can do this. So let's get in and see what we've got in terms of current personnel issues, etc. in the tactics. So if we click into the tactics page, we'll see that we've got a couple of injuries. Inui and Purbet are both out of the squad today. Our reserve goalkeeper, Yoel, is on the bench, but is injured, but is back in training tomorrow, so it's not too bad. So other than Inui, really, there's no major change to this first team 11. It's pretty much the one that we've gone with for most of the season. The only change that I'm going to make is this guy, Alaves, comes back into the starting lineup, having missed a couple of games. So we're going to put him in instead of Garcia in that ball-winning midfield role. But other than that, everybody else is pretty much as I've set them up already. So, for today's match against Vigo in La Liga, we're going to go with Dimitrovic in goal, Correa at right back, Rodriguez at left back, Oliveira and Biggers in central defence, Alaves and Exposito in central midfield, Kike on the right, Brian Gill on the left because Inoue is injured, Enrich and the other Kike up top, and pretty much everybody that's healthy on the bench. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. We have the opportunity in today's team talk to go really ultra positive, to be honest. I found out that Vigo is sitting in 20th position in the current form guide, and we're currently sitting in 4th in terms of where our form is. So I've just simply pumped the fists, riled them up and said, let's go and show them why that is. Let's go and show them why we are so high up the table. We are away from home. It is going to be a little bit more tricky because of that, but I have utmost confidence in this group of players to be able to perform against anybody now that we've beaten Barcelona. I mean, we caught them on a slightly off day, but even so, I thought we played quite well. Let's see how we get on. We're going to go in with our 4-4-2. It's served us very, very nicely so far. Let's see if we can get some good opportunities at goal and convert those chances. In terms of the expectation for the rest of the season, we've got, about another 8 games to play after today. And if we were to find ourselves in 10th position after today's match, 10th, 11th, somewhere around there, depending on another game that's happening also, I think the world is our oyster, really. It would put us a few points behind the next sort of 2 or 3 teams above that as well. So there's loads to still play for. There are some very tricky games coming up. The next match that I've got to play off the episode is actually against Real Madrid. That's just how the fixture list has worked for us. So that's going to be a challenging one. But other than that, I think there's some winnable matches still to come as well, especially when we play like that and we swept the ball through to Kike in a good opportunity at the top of the penalty box, maybe snatched at his shot just a little bit and sent it slightly wide, but a good sighter. And we've kept the ball nicely in this particular passage of play, but then Gil immediately gives it away when I say it. There's the commentator curse for you. But we get it back again. And we're working very hard to do so. The shape is good. The setup, everybody knows what they're doing. So that's really positive. And we can go out and play without too much pressure on us, really. Having said that, there was a moment there where potentially Vigo could have sent us 1-0 down at that point after 15 minutes of the game. We were a little bit lucky. But the highlight continues, and then we put it over the top for Kike to race on, and then the highlight dies. But we get a corner kick, and at the back post, we almost got a goal. It was a good headed attempt at goal, and unfortunately for us, they managed to scramble it clear. We had a second corner that didn't really lead to much at all, but that original headed opportunity off the first corner kick was pretty much on the line of the goal before it was cleared away. So almost. But so far, I'm relatively happy with what I've seen. We're below them in terms of possession stats. We're fairly even in terms of chances created. I'd like a couple more attempts actually on target. But other than that, I think this is going pretty well for an away performance so far. And that's going to be at least a yellow card. And it's a straight red card for Renato Tapia from Vigo. And they go down to 10 men. And again, an opposition have helped us out. No end. Doesn't mean that we're going to steamroll them. Sometimes it's really hard to play against 10 men. They become very defensive and just sit and try and hold you out. But ultimately, it gives us a really good opportunity, doesn't it? A good clearance there. Kike drops in, and we put it over the top on this left-hand side for Brian Gill. He charges past a couple of defenders, gets in the box, crosses it in. We get a couple of bites at the cherry, and eventually, as my throat goes a bit weird, sorry about that, Enrique gets on the end of it. And we do go 1-0 up after 42 minutes. So that's 1-0 up with a couple of minutes to play of this first half. And we've got that man advantage now as well, having seen Vigo get a player sent off. It was a little bit of a scrappy goal in the 6-yard box. I'm sure that Vigo will hope that they would have done better with that. But ultimately, they didn't quite manage it. And we were in the right place at the right time for Enrique to poke it home for a 1-0 lead. And that leads us through to half-time. So, again, not bad. It's not the most engaging first half. We've had a few chances at goal, but not many on target. But the XG rating that we've got, the expected goals for the game, they're on a 0.66 and we've got a 1.25. So the suggestion is that we've got the goal that we deserve, really, from that. So, ultimately, it's going pretty well. So at half-time, we can go in, outstretch the arms. I'm happy with the performance. Keep it up. And we'll go back into this second half with that extra man and just see what we can achieve. Can we keep the ball well? Can we frustrate them a little bit, wear them out, and then pick them off as the second half progresses? Maybe we can. It'll be interesting to find out from this point, really. A 1-0 lead at this point is something for us to work with. They're going to have to come out at some point and maybe have a go if they really want something out of this game, and that might open up the space. They can't just make it hard for us anymore, and they really can't now. Edu Exposito on the free kick down the right-hand side, just at the top of the box, and it was a fairly lengthy way out from a bit of an interesting angle. And he puts it really nicely into the back of the net. The goalkeeper really didn't stand a chance. Didn't get his feet moving at all early enough to get a scramble across and find a way to get a hand on that ball at all. And we go 2-0 up, and we're at 67 minutes. So in a minute or two, we're going to be able to take a couple of players off and rest them for the rest of this match particularly. 71 minutes on the clock. We're going to do it now, I think. No reason to hang about. We've got a couple of players that look like they're slightly tireder than others are, let's say. And there's a yellow card for Alaves as well. So we're going to take the yellow card out and put Garcia in. We are going to take Brian Gill out. Obviously, Inoue is not available just at the moment because of his bit of a knock that he's taken. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring... I think we're going to bring Pedro Leon on, but we're going to switch him and the other Kike out, the one that plays out wide on that right-hand side. And we're going to move Kike across to the left-hand side. He can kind of play anywhere across that midfield line. Not brilliantly well, but he can cover the position, and that's what we need him to do. And we're going to make one more change. Now, Kike's lucky that he's on because he's only got a 6.4 rating, but I kind of need the balance that he provides, not having Inoue. So the one that we're going to take out is actually, we're going to take out one of our strikers and give a guy a run out that hasn't really had too much of a chance. Marquez comes in to the lineup, and he's been on loan for us. Not really seen too much action, to be honest. The likes of Kike and Enrich up top have been pretty good for us. So we're going to give him a bit of a run out and rest Kike from the starting lineup for the last 20 minutes of the match, just to keep him as healthy as we can. That's the intention anyway. So we got a little over 12 minutes to play, and it's very, very comfortable now, really, unless this causes a problem. We clear it just about, but they've kept the ball. But then Rodriguez steps in properly and goes on a bit of a mazy run for us and clears the ball to the halfway line, and then over the top for Marquez, but he can't quite hold on to it, but we regain possession. And defensively, we coped quite well. Corner kick came in, we dealt with it, we got it away. Eventually, Rodriguez stepped in when Vigo had regained the possession and took us to the halfway line and held the ball up enough just to calm the play down a little bit. They've gone ultra defensive, really, Vigo. So they're trying to hold on to roughly what they've got instead of getting an absolute thumping. And so it drifts all the way through to the full-time whistle. Now, ultimately, there's some things in there that were fantastic. We got 2 goals. We played quite well. We never really looked in danger. But the interesting thing, of course, is that most of that match, after 30 minutes of the game, Vigo played with 10 men, and they still pretty much matched us for the shots on target and the shots at goal. And the possession stats weren't that too dissimilar either. So I think Vigo did pretty well with what they had. But we had that little bit of cutting edge just in a couple of opportunities to get those 2 goals, take the points. And now let's go and see whether we are in 10th or 11th in the league. Whichever one it is, that's pretty amazing. So just before we look at exactly who we've got coming up in the next episode, we've got a couple of things just to go through. The first is that Rodriguez picked up a knock, pulled knee ligaments, and he's going to be out for the next 3 weeks. That's our left fullback. We've got an okay option to replace him, but it's still unfortunate to miss him at this key point in the season. In terms of the league table, well, I think it's pretty good, really. We're currently sitting in 11th. I think it was Getafe maybe, but also got a result that meant that they've stayed ahead of us in 10th position themselves, having now everybody played the 30th match in and around us, other than Pamplona. But the good thing is, even though we're sitting in 11th and not 10th, it's only on goal difference, or actually it's again about head-to-head record, isn't it? But we're only 3 points behind 7th position. And I think that's opened up these next 4 spots for us to potentially grab one as the season progresses. I think going higher than that, we're currently, 8 points behind 6th and one of those European spots. I think that's probably beyond us with only 8 matches to play. But the next sort of 3 or 4 positions in the league are potentially there for us to challenge for, and that is exactly what we'll be attempting to do over the next few fixtures. So we've got 8 games left of the season. That still means another 4 episodes for us. Let's go into the schedule page. Remember, we play every other game during this half season on the episodes. That's how my Relegation Rescue series works. So I'm gonna have to play Real Madrid off the episode just because that's how it's come about in the fixture list. We come back next episode for Sevilla away from home, and we've still on the episodes got Valencia, Elche and Valladolid to play. And Valladolid as the last game of the season is a real chance to get a bit of revenge, because the very first game that we played in control of Eibar was this cup match here against Valladolid at home, and they beat us in extra time. So it's a real chance to come full circle at the end of this particular series and show that we've improved by taking the points away from them at the end of the season. But there's a few games to play between now and then. As I say, Real Madrid up next for me. I'll come back next episode and update you in exactly what happened with that. We get Sevilla in the next episode. So a couple of tough games. Still Valencia to play as well. So tricky games to play, but we're in fantastic form. Another 3 points today has really put us right into the mid-table position with the potential of even greater things. So come back next episode and we'll figure out what happens in the coming weeks. Until then, though, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That'll help me get seen by more people. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.